Hey y'all, welcome back. It's Danielle, and today we're going to be making my version of seafood salad. This is definitely something you can serve on your holiday table, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so the first step to seafood salad for me is going to be to boil the eggs, and then I just added in some, the eggs are pretty much done, so I added some frozen shrimp in, just so it can cook through in the last like minute or so that the eggs are boiling, and then we can rinse all of this together in cold water and go on to the next steps. This is some leftover salmon fillets, so I'm just going to chop these up and throw them in rather than using like canned salmon. So at this point you can decide whether or not you want to cut your shrimp in half. I think I'm going to, just because these are like a little bit bigger than bite-sized. It's kind of like a big mouthful. So you can leave them whole, or you can cut them into smaller pieces if you have like jumbo shrimp or something like that. These are large. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these and then just toss these into the bowl. This is definitely something you can customize the way you like it. If you wanted to add veggies to it, like celery, onion, all that stuff, you can do that. I typically don't add any veggies to mine. I just season it really well. The only semi-vegetable that I'll add is sometimes relish. But other than that, no veggies. So that's all of the knife stuff that we have to do. We're completely done. So I'm running cold water over these noodles just because I don't want them to be hot and put them in a cold salad. So I'm just going to cool them down with some cold water. And then once you get all the heat off of them, you kind of got to get all this extra water off, or just let them sit for a few minutes so that they can drain properly. So I gave these about 10 minutes to drain. So now I'm just going to toss that into the bowl. And now we can start mixing it up. So what I'm going to use inside the salad is some light mayo. I'm not somebody who eats mayo by itself. So I don't really care about the flavor. I more so want it for the creaminess. So I'm not particular about the brand. And I always just go with the light because it has less calories. So light mayo. I always use sweet relish. You can leave this out altogether, or you can go with like the pickle relish or dill relish if you prefer. But I like the sweet element that the sweet relish provides. Some yellow mustard. Sometimes I might also put spicy brown mustard, but it just depends. So those are the condiments that I put inside of it. Now for seasonings, I'm going to put garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, some complete seasoning. Keep in mind, I'm a Marylander. So typically I would be using Old Bay, but I can't find any, or I forgot to buy some at the store. So instead I'm going to use this seafood seasoning. I got this from Dollar Tree like a long time ago. But nothing replaces Old Bay, in my opinion. And then I'm also going to do some lemon pepper and maybe some salt. I'm going to taste it and see if it needs it. If you also want a sweet element but you don't like the relish, you could also use some like Miracle Whip, or this is a store brand, Miracle Whip. You can really put the Miracle Whip and the relish. Up to you. I might put a little bit of the Miracle Whip too. It kind of counterbalances the tanginess of the mustard. So I got my mixing spoon, and now let's get started just throwing everything in here. When it comes to the mayo, I don't actually measure this. I just do it until it has the right amount of creaminess. Like, I don't actually put it into a cup, a measuring cup, and measure how much I'm putting. I just mix it up and see how it looks. And if it looks right, then I go with it. So that was the mayo. I'm going to throw in some of the Miracle Whip too. Just a little bit of that. A little bit of the sweet relish. Mustard. This is the complete seasoning. Seafood seasoning. If this were Old Bay, I would be going heavier with it. But this has like a lot of thyme and stuff in it, so I don't want to go too crazy with this. This is the onion powder. The lemon pepper. It's another one that I'm not going to go too crazy with. But it kind of gives it an element of freshness with that citrus kick. You can definitely just leave that out, or just put a little tiny bit if you don't want to, you know, if you want to kind of see what it's going to do before you put too much. That was garlic powder. And I'm going to do just a little squirt of the spicy brown mustard. Give it a mix. I can already tell it doesn't have enough mayo just because a lot of the noodles are still dry. So you can definitely see that it's going to need a lot more mayo. When you hear this sound, you know you're getting close. So let me go ahead and taste it for seasoning, because I feel like it's just about there as far as the mayo goes. I might need to add a little more because it's still a little, not dry, but the noodles soak up the mayo as it sits. So you need to make it a little bit more wet than you think it needs to be. And then as it sits, it'll kind of soak it up. So just from personal experience, I know that it needs to be a little bit more creamy than this. So that's a little bit more of the Miracle Whip and a little bit more of the mayo. I'm gonna give it one more mix, and then I'm going to try it and see if it needs anything else as far as seasoning goes. Okay, it's not sweet enough, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of the relish. This is where you kind of just got to use your own discretion and figure out what you like, because how I like it is probably not how you might like it. So I will say, without the Old Bay, it won't be like 100% how I'm used to eating it. I'm just gonna have to kind of improvise on that. The Old Bay is really like the secret ingredient, in my opinion, when it comes to things that have to do with seafood. But again, that might be the Maryland in me talking. You might feel differently. And honestly, that's it. So it tastes pretty good now. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it into the refrigerator and let it set for a little while. Let all the flavors marinate, and then that's it. You can go ahead and serve this on your Thanksgiving table.